Hello, my name is Laura Flanagan and this is a screencast. Today I'm going to show you a tutorial of how to prepare a lichen lesson for your students. This lesson can be taught indoors with collected lichen specimens or in the great outdoors. First, you will pose the question to your students with a collected specimen in your hand. What does this remind you of? You ask the students. The answers that they give will definitely be funny. Lettuce, seaweed, mountains, landscapes from a plane. You'll definitely enjoy all their answers. You can tell your students that it's actually a living organism. There's lichen that can survive in a frosty tundra or in a scorching desert. At this point, you'll want to tell them that this is lichen. In this slide, you will want to get started with the students. So if you are outdoors, you'll give them hand lenses and assign them a partner to walk around with. If you're in a classroom, you'll have the collected specimens around the room. You'll ask the students to find, observe, and count how many different species of lichen that they can find. At this point, they'll be exploring and you can give them a perimeter where you would not want them to go past. There are apps for magnifying lenses if you do not have enough or if a student requires a better view than just using the magnifying lens. Also, have students take pictures with their camera phone instead of harming the lichen specimen. Notice when the class seems to be done and move on to the next activity of circling everyone together. You can ask the students, how many species did you find? How are they similar or different to each other? What did you notice when you viewed the lichen with your hand lens? Talk about these questions one at a time. For this discussion, you can ask them, what patterns do you notice about where lichen grows? They may respond, mostly in the trees or mostly on rocks. You can have a good discussion about where you noticed the most lichen growing that day. Another great discussion question with lichen is, do you see any evidence that lichen is plant-like? Do you see any evidence that lichen could be a fungus? I think you'll find some really interesting answers from your students. Your students will love to learn that lichen is actually two organisms. Lichen is fungi and algae in a symbiotic relationship. You can explain that a symbiotic relationship is when two organisms depend on each other for survival. Your students will be interested to know that there are 3 types of lichen in which all lichen falls under. There's leafy lichen, which is attached to a rock or wood in one place. Crusty lichen is the second one you'll see on this slide, and it is stuck to a rock or wood like paint. And shrubby lichen hangs down like a beard would. Interestingly enough, crusty is the first lichen to colonize a bare rock. Then leafy grows on top of that, killing the crusty lichen, and shrubby grows right on top of leafy. Pretty cool. I think you'll be impressed when your students give you some pretty outrageously fun answers for this question. How many species of lichen do you think there are in the world? You can surprise them by saying there are over 10,000 species of lichen. You should ask your students, what are you still curious about? What do you wonder about lichen? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you.